Hello chess friends and welcome to your of Chess channel and welcome to a new and epic gameplay by the latest version of Stockfish, the powerful Stockfish 16. Today we see the fish battling it out against another top engine chess.cpp in an amazing advanced variation of the Caro-Kann Defense. But today we'll see the fish in the reverse role. Today we see the fish playing with the black pieces, the amazing Caro-Kann Defense. And this one is really spectacular because in one particular moment Stockfish will show us a new method, a new, completely new idea in the Caro-Kann Defense. In my opinion, really spectacular game. Put your seatbelts on. If you're a Caro-Kann Defense player, I think you'll really enjoy this one for sure. So let's see now what happened. With the white pieces, the chess.cpp engine opened with move e4. Stockfish response was c6, the Caro-Kann. We have d4, d5, and after move e5, we have now the advanced variation of the Caro-Kann Defense. Bishop to f5. Very important to, of course, keep the bishop outside of the pawn chain. In the next move, we're trying to lock the center with the move e6. We have now the move knight to f3, which is the so-called short variation. e6 as promised, fixing the structure and keeping the bishop outside of the pawn chain. We have bishop to e2, knight to d7, kingside castling, and now knight to e7. Here Stockfish is preparing the move knight to g6, and then with the move c5 to play aggressively here on this side of the board. So knight from b to d2, now comes knight to g6, and after move knight to b3, controlling the c5 square, Stockfish plays now the move h5. This move is of course controlling the g4 square. It's also keeping the bishop really on a good square, because in some lines this bishop could be attacked. So that's why so far good move here also to control also the king side. But the downside a little bit about this move h4 is that it's very hard now for you, I think, to cast king side here, because you have already exposed yourself a little bit on this side of the board. You have created already some weaknesses on this side of the board. So it was an aggressive move, but it's also sometimes risky to play advanced pawns in front of your own king. So here after move h4, chess.cpp continues with h3. Stockfish plays bishop to e7, and now the fun starts. Here chess.cpp plays now the move knight to e1. It's obviously attacking immediately the weakness on h5. You could advance the pawn here to h4, getting out of this mess, but I think this would be very hard then to make any further progress on this side of the board, because obviously you're not going to castle king side anymore. Probably you will castle queen side, and if that happens, you want to have at least some kind of flexibility to later push the pawn on g4. g4 would then open somehow the position in front of your king. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. When you play now the move h4, you don't have any more the control of the g4 square. So that's why Stockfish played really a completely new idea here. Played first of all now the move c5. This move has been played so far in chess history, but now the follow-up was really great. In the game, of course, chess.cpp takes out now the pawn on h5. And now my question here for you is, what would you do now in this particular position? What would be now your continuation? What's now, I think, let's calculate the next 3-4 best moves here for black. Pause the video, take your time, and try to see now the best progressive idea here for black. Okay, in chess history, c takes d4 has been played, and many times white won the game. But Stockfish plays now a really brilliant idea, plays a novelty with the move c4, kicks away the knight. The knight is not protecting the d4 square anymore. Stockfish plays queen to b6, attacks now the pawn, forces a reaction by white, and castles now queen side. This is really cool what the fish is doing here, because now the main strategic goal is to break the position with the move f6 here, and then after something like maybe e takes f6, g takes f6, you would then have both files to attack. You have maybe the h file as an attacking possibility, also the g file. Maybe if something changes, also the f file could be useful in the attack. So in my opinion, I think this is a beautiful compensation for the lost pawn. Now we have at least new activities, new progressive ideas here on the king side. Really spectacular way to play the Caro-Kann Defense. We have bishop to g4 by chess.cpp. Stockfish plays now this progressive idea. f6 is trying somehow now to open the position in front of its opponent's king, because we have now this common opposite side attack game where the kings are on opposite sides, and now you don't count pawns anymore. You're just trying to keep the files open against your opponent's king. f6, of course, a good move here by Stockfish 16. Bishop to f5, we have e takes f5, and now again, what should white do? For instance, you could try here maybe this idea. E takes f6, but then the tricky idea would be here actually to play g takes f6. This move would be then very important in order to control the e5 square. White would left maybe to play f4, knight to f3, knight to e5, somehow to lock the position, somehow to cement the position. But now with the move g takes f6, obviously we have again opened the g file, and we are controlling the main maybe plan for white to occupy the center. Here we're controlling the e5 square, so that's why also here maybe to take e takes f6 would be not a good idea here for chess.cpp. So that's why chess.cpp tried f4. Stockfish continues of course with the f takes e5. We have f takes e5, and of course knight takes e5. You cannot take, of course, the knight because of the queen's activity. What you could do is, of course, take the pawn on f5. But Stockfish calculated everything in really, really spectacular way. In the game, rook to b1 was played. Here, chess.cpp tried also to play a fast counterattack on the queen side. But let's see what happens if you play rook to f5. If you play rook to f5, then it becomes really, really spectacular. Look at this. First of all, black would probably continue with queen to g6. The problem here for white is that you cannot take the knight here. You would, of course, get two minor pieces for the lost rook. But now, when the bishop comes into the game, I think this is game over already here for white. You have to step back maybe to h1, then rook to h3 is immediately winning the game. You get checkmated on g1, and even if you step back to f1, again the same tactic is working. Rook to h3 and followed with rook to f8. Again, a devastating messed up position here for white. Obviously what you could do here after move queen to g6 is maybe to play queen to c2, protecting now the rook. But now the problem here is, look at this, with queen to g3, this knight is misplaced. It's not connected to the rook on a1, and also what bothers now in many of these lines that we'll see also in the continuation of the game is that the knight after the move c4 that Stockfish played, and knight to d2 was forced by white. The knight is also standing in the way of its own bishop. So here what you could try is maybe to again play rook to e5, but then we saw after knight to e5 you could maybe try queen to f5, but again we can retreat. And even if you take here again like this, then obviously bishop to c5 is coming in again in a spectacular way into the game. What you could try here, instead of this move rook to e5, after move queen to g3, you could cover yourself, of course, with rook to f2, but now knight to g4 would be, for instance, a beautiful follow-up. H takes g4, rook to h1. You just keep the attacking flow. Queen takes f2, and then rook to h8 is again game over here for white. Really, really beautiful, beautiful tactical possibility. So this whole rook to f5 idea is not working because black gets a tempo, and then you get simply destroyed in any of these lines. Really, really wild stuff. So here after move knight to e5, that's why rook to b1 was played by, as we said, by chess.cpp, trying of course to attack somehow the queen side. Stockfish continues now again with an aggressive move g5. We have b3, we have g4, trying of course to open the position, and now we have b takes c4. Here chess.cpp, we have to say it also played a decent counterattack. Now the queen is hanging, still the knight is hanging, and Stockfish continues again with the same plan, queen to g6, attacking of course the beautiful g file. We have queen to after queen to g6, we have queen to a4, hitting the pawn on a7. Stockfish protects it now, and after queen to b3, it's time again to pause the video. Please try to see now here the best continuation for black. It's not so easy to see because the obvious threat is here to play the move queen takes b7. So take your time and try to see now really the best continuation here for black. It's really, really spectacular move here by Stockfish again. Okay, here Stockfish defended this position in a beautiful, really, really in a tactical way. Knight to c5. This is the way to go. Sacrificing the piece. Okay, you can of course take any both of these knights, but of course this comes with a direct threat against the queen. After d takes c5, now again the bishop comes in a beautiful way into the game. Bishop to c5, and again I'm pointing out, look how weird this structure is here. The knight is basically paralyzing its own bishop. Here white has to step back to h1, and Stockfish continues now with rook to d7. Cleared now this square for the rook, and now the rook is protecting the weak b7 square. But not only that this rook is protecting the b7 square, it can be also of course included into the attack on the 7th rank. So really spectacular tactic. Although white has an extra piece, but I would not love to play anymore this game. Here of course black is much better. Queen to c2, attacking now the f5 pawn. Stockfish continues with this one. G takes h3, of course, with some tactics. H takes g2 with the discovered attack against the king. You have to play now g3, keep the files locked in front of white's king. Stockfish continues with queen to g3. We have knight to f3, knight takes f3, knight takes f3, and now f4. Here c takes d5 was played by chess.cpp, and Stockfish continues now of course with rook to g8. The huge threat is of course to play now queen to g2. For instance, you try knight to d4, then queen to g2 is winning the game. You have to takes, and then you lose decisive material. This is again game over here for white. So that's why after rook to g8, here chess.cpp had to play rook to b2 in order to control here the g2 square, and Stockfish again finds simply the best attacking idea. Maybe just for fun, again, if you like, pause the video and try to see now again the best idea here for black. Okay, obviously when there is a key defender, now we have to really call this rook as a key defender of the g2 square. Stockfish simply attacks it with bishop to a3. Again, I'm pointing out you cannot play rook to b3 because of this tactic, queen to g2, and now bishop to c5. We get this one into the game, so it's a messed up game again here for white. So it's not working. So after bishop to a3, that's why bishop to c5, bishop to f4. Here chess.cpp is desperately trying somehow to get the pieces into the game. Stockfish simply takes. Has also now the piece back, but we have to say this is really a naked king. This is a devastating, a lost game simply here for white. Queen to h2, we have queen to f5. Of course, the attacker doesn't want to trade off more pieces. Stockfish keeps more pieces on the board. We have rook to e2, bishop to d6, hitting the queen, queen to f2, and now Stockfish creates a powerful rook battery on the g file. Obviously, this is really close to losing here for white. Queen to b6 here by chess.cpp. Stockfish continues with this one. Rook to g2, queen to e3, king to b8. Calm move, improving simply the position of the king. Nothing can attack anymore black's king here. Queen to e4, again trying to force the trades of queens. Stockfish again steps back to f7, rook to f2, king to a8, queen to e6, and after queen to f4, here queen to g8. In this particular position, here the chess.cpp engine simply resigns. So of course we'll simply take, and there's nothing that can be done. This pressure was simply too much to handle here. There was simply too much attacking possibilities. So here Stockfish simply destroyed white's defense in front of the king. So great game, great first of all strategic game, but I really loved how Stockfish changed castling. It simply castled queenside, sacrificed the h pawn, but who cares about the pawn when you play this opposite side attack games, and then created this beautiful, brutal, spectacular attacking formation. This is really one of the best Caro-Kann chess games that I've seen in my life. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. If you want to see more about the Caro-Kann defense, we have started recently our new series about the Caro-Kann defense. Please check it out. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you want to see more brutal Stockfish but also other top engine games, check out our commented chess games played by computer series. Here's also the link, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.